Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever wondered why you might constantly find yourself attracting the exact wrong people? Or, why a perfectly stable, loving partner suddenly feels boring while someone who just constantly gives you mixed signals feels incredibly attractive and completely irresistible? Well, today we are decoding the nervous system of love in this explainer. We're going to look at how the affection we received, or in a lot of cases didn't receive, in our very earliest days actually secretly programs our adult relationships. Let's get right into the data because I promise you, the science here is absolutely fascinating. 37%. To really understand why we love the way we do today, we have to travel all the way back to 1945. World War II had just ended and it left millions of children orphaned. But inside the hospitals, there was a strange and honestly heartbreaking mystery unfolding. Completely healthy babies were just slowly wasting away. So an Austrian psychoanalyst named René Spitz set out to investigate this. He tracked 91 newborns using cameras over the course of 2 years. And the devastating consequence of his findings was a staggering 37% mortality rate within just 6 months. But why? What was actually happening here? Well, let's look at the exact conditions of this 1945 Vienna orphanage experiment. These babies literally had the world's best doctors. They had top-tier nutrition and a perfectly sterile, hygienic environment. But Spitz intentionally implemented one very strict policy: no spoiling the children. And what that meant in practice was absolutely no holding them and no eye contact whatsoever. Despite having everything physically necessary to live, these babies' faces went blank. Their crying just stopped, and they expired without any underlying disease or infection. Spitz actually named this condition Marasmus, which literally translates to wasting away. Think about that. They had the food, they had the best medicine, but they were entirely denied human affection. And this brings us to a foundational truth of human biology. In childhood, love is oxygen. It's not just a nice emotion. You see, a human baby is arguably the most helpless creature on Earth. For a newborn, finding food, shelter, and warmth relies entirely on one single mechanism, and that is connection. Therefore, affection isn't just some luxury we like to have, it is the fundamental survival mechanism. It is literally what creates the nervous system's very first safety map. Now, this raises a really profound question, doesn't it? Does a baby simply attach to the one who feeds them? I mean, if healthy attachment equals survival, does a newborn just naturally attach to whoever provides the physical resources? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at a very famous, though admittedly quite dark, 1958 experiment by a scientist named Harry Harlow over at the University of Wisconsin. So, what Harlow did was he separated newborn monkeys and gave them 2 completely artificial mothers. Now, what's really interesting about this setup is the contrast. First, you have the wire mother. She's cold, hard, and metallic, but she's holding a milk bottle. She provides life-sustaining food. Then you have the cloth mother. She's soft, she's warm, she's comforting, but she offers absolutely zero food. Now, basic logic tells us the monkey should just hang out with the food source, right? Because food equals life. But the baby monkey did the exact opposite. The baby monkey would actually only go over to that cold wire mother just long enough to drink the milk and then immediately run right back to cling to the soft cloth mother for the absolute maximum hours of the day. And guys, this shatters a massive myth about love. It proves that attachment is built entirely on the feeling of safety, not resources. When we compare this to our adult love lives, sure, looks might attract you, status might impress you. But at the deepest, most biological level, love asks one profound question: is my nervous system safe with this person? But I have to mention, Harlow's findings had a much darker side. When female monkeys were raised in total isolation chambers without that safe, comforting mother figure, they actually grew up to be abusive mothers themselves. They never received love, so their bodies physically couldn't give it. And this acts as a massive warning for all of us. If a baby only knows a really inconsistent or unsafe upbringing, their nervous system might learn that closeness just means being controlled, or that silence means they are being abandoned. They might grow up totally conflating pain, fear, and anxiety with the love itself. It really makes you wonder, are we mistaking a thorn for love? Real love expands your nervous system with confidence. Fake love contracts it with fear and anxiety. So how do we actually identify if we're walking around carrying these contracted, fearful patterns today? Enter Mary Ainsworth's pivotal 1970 experiment, widely known as the strange situation. What she did was observe the real-time attachment patterns of babies. Basically, a mother and baby would be placed in a room with a stranger. The mother would then leave the room, which obviously activates the baby's attachment stress system, and then, a bit later, she would return.
how the baby responded to that specific return actually gave birth to the entire concept of our modern love styles.
And looking at these 4 styles acts as a rather uncomfortable mirror for a lot of us. First up is the secure style. Here, the baby cries when mom leaves, but soothes easily when she returns. As adults, these are the people who handle conflict and repair it in a healthy way. Then there's the anxious style. This baby panics, clings, and just cannot relax, even when mom comes back. In the adult world, this is the person who panics over a late text message and just holds on tighter. Next is the avoidant style. This baby outwardly ignores the mother upon return, even though internally their stress hormones are absolutely spiking. As adults, these are the folks who constantly say, "I need space," and sprint away from intimacy. Finally, the disorganized style. The baby literally freezes with a mixed response. As adults, they are those push-pull lovers who desperately want love but are completely terrified of it at the same time.
So the crucial point we really need to take away from this analysis is that we have to step outside of these Bollywood fairy tale illusions. Love at its scientific, biological core is an algorithm. It is a nervous system safety prediction system, and it's running on a very simple logic of survival. It's not some magical or cosmic connection written in the stars. It's an automatic code that was written into your brain when you were just a few months old, and it dictates exactly how you interpret stress and conflict in your connections today. Now, it's important to note that these styles aren't just rigid boxes you're trapped in. They actually fall onto a spectrum known as the psycho-love gradient. On the anxiety axis, your nervous system is just constantly scanning the environment, always asking, will they leave me? Meanwhile, over on the avoidance axis, the nervous system is playing defense, constantly asking, will they exploit my connection? These are essentially highly evolved strategies for nervous system safety, heavily influenced by those deeply ingrained childhood fears we talked about. And your life experiences are continually updating exactly where you fall on this gradient. Let's bring all this abstract science into the real world with a hyper-relatable modern scenario. Picture this. It's March 10, 2026 in Mumbai. It is the night before Ria and Rohit's engagement. 250 guests are invited. A beautiful banquet hall in Bandra is fully booked. The flowers are set up. From the outside looking in, everything looks absolutely perfect. But inside, it is a completely different story. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how these childhood algorithms clash in real time. Ria, who leans heavily toward the anxious style, is sitting all alone. She has literally checked her phone 47 times in the last 3 hours. She's got a tight chest, rapid breathing, and she's totally trapped in a loop thinking, if he vanishes the night before our engagement, how is he ever going to support me in a marriage? Meanwhile, Rohit, who leans heavily avoidant, is sitting in a dark, parked car with the engine off, just staring blankly at 14 missed calls. His heart rate is pounding at 96 beats per minute, and his opposing internal loop is screaming, if there's this much emotional pressure right before the wedding, my freedom and my mental peace are completely over. Now, if you look at this relationship purely on the surface, Ria just seems super clingy and Rohit seems incredibly cold and distant. But let's decode the real root problem here based on everything we've uncovered today. Both of their nervous systems feel deeply, fundamentally unsafe. They're having very real physical reactions to childhood alarms, and their bodies are basically just running old survival codes. Ria feels this deep, unsafe fear of abandonment. And Rohit feels an equally deep, unsafe fear of being trapped. It is fundamentally not a question of who is wrong here. They are simply reacting to the automatic algorithms that were installed when they were helpless infants. Which brings us to a massive crossroads, and honestly the ultimate question for our explainer today. If our nervous system's safety map was programmed when we were literally babies, driving us toward all this anxiety or avoidance, can we willingly change our childhood love algorithm? Can people like Ria and Rohit actually save their relationship? Or are these toxic, deeply ingrained patterns just going to destroy it? I really want you to think about your own love style right now. Where do you fall on the gradient? And what survival codes might you be running on autopilot? We're going to dive into how you can actually rewrite these very algorithms in part 2, but for now, take a really close look in that mirror and ask yourself, what is your nervous system truly searching for?